Welcome to our podcast, What No Mom Told You, where the rarely spoken truths finally get loud.
I'm Megan Nelson.
And I'm Pauline Walfish. And this is a therapist-led podcast where we talk about the things no one warned you about, the truths that are often kept quiet.
We're naming the messy parts of life: motherhood, fertility, loss, grief, and joy, and everything in between, without judgment.
Because the rarely spoken truths need to be said out loud, and because no one should feel alone.
Welcome to What No Mom Told You.
Hello, and welcome back. I'm your co-host, Pauline Walfish, here with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Megan Nelson. And today we have with us Chana Diamond. She is a licensed clinical social worker, a certified perinatal mental health clinician, a veteran labor and birth doula, a lactation and feeding counselor, a mentor to numerous interns and students earning degrees in the mental health fields. She's a therapist at Helping Hand Psychotherapy and a mom of 3 amazing children. Welcome, Chana.
Thanks, guys. I'm so excited to be here.
First, shout out for you for surviving 3 children.
Thank you.
No,
We're in. Yeah.
Easy task. And being a working mom, too.
Thanks.
With
it's hard.
Not 1, but 2 professional identities, right? You're a therapist and a doula.
Yes.
So how did that happen?
Well, I became a social worker and learned about, and in the early years of being a social worker, I learned about what doulas do. And I thought that sounds like a really exciting, cool thing to be a part of. And so I became a doula thinking that I would just do it for friends and family. And here I am, almost 15 years later, and supporting lots of people while they give birth. And then I was somehow able to weave it into my therapist role now as a perinatal psychotherapist.
Yeah.
So you were doula before you were a parent.
Yes, I was. I became a doula about a year before I became a mom.
So after watching all of the messy parts of birth, you still wanted to do it yourself,
right? I jumped right in. It's that naivete that comes along with the first one, right? Where you're like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm impressed because I don't know if I had to watch it from the other side. I don't know. Maybe I'd be like, nope, not doing that.
I guess maybe that's why I've been in it this long, right? Because for some reason, the really exciting, amazing parts just stand out so much to me that it keeps me going.
Yeah. So before we get into talking about the messy part, for people who maybe don't know what a doula is or have never experienced working with a doula, briefly, how would you describe your role?
Sure. So, if you throw it into Google will tell you that doulas provide non-medical support, physical support, emotional support, and guidance through labor and birth. The way that I once upon a time heard it described and now should like to share with people, and the way I like to practice, is that doulas can be your tour guide through pregnancy, through labor, birth, and your postpartum period.
I love that because we talk about that there's no roadmap here. So it's like, if you don't have a roadmap, what should you have as a tour guide? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that. I kind of got goosebumps just hearing you describe it that way.
Thanks. Yeah. I love to do that for people. I love to, look, we don't do anything for them. I don't make any choices for people. I hold their hand while they make really hard choices.
Literally hold their hand.
Yeah.
As therapists, we figuratively do it, but you are literally in there, if they want, holding their hand.
I hold hands. I hold hair. I hold
you
hips.
probably hold legs and ankles.
I hold lots of legs, lots of feet. Yes. Moms, dads, siblings, all of it.
Yeah. So
grandmas,
seen it all.
Yes. Look, there's always more to see, but I've seen a lot.
Yeah. So let's dive in. Let's talk about the messy parts of giving birth that we don't talk about enough, and that I know that people are worrying about are going to happen or aren't prepared for when they happen. And so causes a lot of either anxiety and worry in anticipation, or like, what the hell just happened in
Mm.
like trauma response afterwards. So
Mm.
we want to hear from you, Hannah. Like, tell us about the messy parts of birth.
Sure. So I'm going to even back up and talk about the messy and unseen, untalked about parts of pregnancy, right? We know about like morning sickness in the first trimester, and people don't always share that people feel sick and nauseous and sometimes vomit through their entire pregnancy. People get really constipated and their bowel movements change and they don't know what that is all about and they're really confused, right?
Right. People have never been constipated before.
Never, never. And then all of a sudden they're like, I haven't pooped in a week. What's
Yeah.
going on? And it feels even worse because there's a big old baby in my
Pushing
uterus,
back, yeah.
right? Pushing everything around, right? Your organs are moving. Some people experience, urinary leakage with go definitely see a pelvic floor PT, but because all of your organs are being shifted and moved, and sometimes that baby is like your uterus is just pressing on your bladder, people get hemorrhoids.
I didn't know
It's
you could get
terrible.
vaginal hemorrhoids.
Vaginal hemorrhoids.
And I
What is
remember
that?
doctors describing them as like, was a cluster of grapes. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of it, right? It's really, it can be really, I mean, it can be painful and also really uncomfortable because these are like new weird things that are happening to your body at the same time as this other like really weird new thing.
Yes.
So yeah, for sure.
And I hear moms say, like, I'm afraid to ask because I've already called the doctor 3 times this week. They're going to think I'm crazy.
Yeah, that's okay. First of all, they've heard it before. I guarantee it. Because I've heard it before. So I guarantee that your doctor has heard it before. And call and ask because you deserve to know and you deserve answers. And Google or your cousin or your sister is not always the person to ask, right? So yes, ask them. When we think about labor and birth, yeah, it can be really messy, right?
You left out, Hannah, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for a second
Yeah.
because you left out the like mucus plug, right? Like that's like the other like kind of
Yes.
funky.
Yes, your
Maybe you
mucus
think it's
plug.
gross, kind of. I mean, the word
Yes.
mucus.
Right, it
Well,
throws
we should
everyone.
rebrand it, right? We should rebrand
It's
it.
like
probably.
moist. It's like
There. That's a whole other topic. The rebranding of all of the terms in pregnancy, labor, and birth. That like it was certainly a man that came up with that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the mucus plug, and also that people always think like it's one, like I'm going to lose the plug and then that's, it's a start and a stop, because that's not the way it happens. There's lots and lots of mucus in your vagina, right? And lots of stuff comes out. I like to share with some of my doula clients. I remember when I was pregnant with my first and towards the end, when maybe it was mucus plug or whatever it was, and I asked my midwife and she very clinically and medically explained, there's lots of stuff in your vagina and it starts to come out. That was what she told me. So yeah, like that's kind of what happens. Mucus, discharge, all of it can be and usually is super, super normal. And if you're concerned, you should ask your provider or send your doula a picture because I get lots of those. That's
Do lots of
there's
people
just
present to the labor and delivery, thinking that their water is broken at the end because of that?
yeah. I mean, certainly some people think that that their water has broken, and a lot of times a lot of what I do, especially for people in early labor, is to like field a lot of those questions, how to determine if it's mucus, if it's your water broke, right? So like another messy thing that happens, sometimes your water breaks, not always during early labor or at home. Your water can break at any point during your labor.
I think that's like one of the big fears of people, right? Like, I'm going to sit on my friend's couch and my water's
Yep.
going to break.
Yeah. And I have seen the big gush and puddle. Yeah, right. Like
Megan's a
it does.
gusher.
I've had one. It popped up here and the floodgates opened. And I was like, oh, that's what that's like.
Yep. Sometimes it's more of a leak or like a slow trickle. So people will say like, it just feels like I keep peeing myself, right? Because, another messy thing is that like, sometimes you do pee yourself because there's just a lot of pressure on your bladder at that point with a baby laying right there. So yeah, for sure.
And sometimes the
Another
water doesn't break at all.
Yes, correct. Sometimes your water does not break. We have, when babies are born, what they call end call. It's not super common, especially with most hospital births, but sometimes it does happen, right? They're living in that water balloon pretty snug.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it online, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, your water breaking can be another potentially messy thing that happens. Which is why I tell people have those big giant sanitary napkins at home, and whenever we transport to the hospital, we bring a towel just in case.
Yeah, we used to call
Yeah.
them chucks. When I
Yep.
worked at the hospital, we call like they look you can use them as dog wee-wee pads,
What did you
like
say,
those
like puppy
big
pads?
blue and
Yeah.
white yeah, like a puppy pad.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, always good to have on hand, right? They come in handy postpartum also. So they
Yeah.
just, if you don't use them all up, you'll have plenty for afterwards. Yeah, lots of messy stuff can happen. People can get really early labor sometimes can bring on nausea or diarrhea. There's like this instinctual thing of like your body kind of like clearing out. So to vomit and feel nauseous or to just have like a really bad stomachache, diarrhea, stuff like that. Super normal, super
So
common.
funny story. The legend of my birth when my mother had me was that she was like knocked out during her labor. And then when they woke her up, she was like, "Oh, I have to go to the bathroom. You have to let me, I have to poop." And they were like, "No, no, you're having the baby." So I always tell my mother, I'm like, "So you thought I was a piece of shit before I was even born?" She doesn't think that about me. And she will tell me, "I never thought that about you." But that has been my like take on that, that
Mhm.
like even before I was born, she thought I was poop.
I love that. I love that. I love those stories. They become like family lore of
Mhm.
the birth stories. But yeah, I mean, but that's the classic feeling, right? That whenever anybody will tell you, as soon as I got to the hospital and I said I was having injections, they said, "Do you feel like you have to poop?" Right? Because that's what it feels like
Yeah.
commonly when you are fully dilated and perhaps ready to start pushing because at that point the baby is really laying on your rectum and that's where you're feeling the pressure.
Do
So
you
yeah,
actually have to
oftentimes
poop?
I would say the sensation of feeling like you have to poop because you have to push is not that you have to poop. But Pauline, you're getting at the question that everybody wants to know, right? Like, what if I poop while I'm pushing? And the answer is
I was
then
so afraid.
you'll poop while you're pushing.
And nobody
It's
cares.
okay.
Yeah.
Nobody cares, and you won't necessarily realize it. I would say sometimes people will know I'm pooping. If people ask me, "Did I poop?" I will tell them, "Yeah," and nobody cared. You were
Yeah.
doing your job. You were doing exactly what you needed to be doing at that time. Um, the nurses who are like earth angels on labor and delivery do the most incredible job of discreetly wiping it away. If the OB is there or your midwife is there, they will very, nonchalantly wipe it away. And what we say is that if you poop while you're pushing, it means you're pushing in the right direction. So
So
yeah,
it's
it's
a
okay.
it's a sign of doing it correctly.
Absolutely. And some people don't poop and some people do, and it's totally fine. But one of those things that happens, some people poop while they're in labor. Early labor, they go to the bathroom, it's totally, totally normal, right? Your body is still your body
Yeah. Yes,
while you're
everybody
pregnant
poop.
and in labor. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you think didn't they used to like give people things to like clean them out before, but they don't do that anymore, right?
They don't really. Yes, in the past, it was common practice for providers to give an enema so that perhaps you wouldn't poop while you
Can't
were
even
giving birth.
imagine.
I don't really know completely why that was practice. It can sometimes be like a less heavy intervention to get labor started. And I have one time in my life seen an enema used to induce labor for somebody who it was their third. They were already contracting. They wanted to move things along, and it did.
Fascinating. There's all
Yeah.
sorts of like interesting things that actually work to move labor along, like having sex.
Mhm. Yes. Oxytocin is our love hormone. And so when we are intimate with someone, there's lots of oxytocin flowing, and that is also what causes uterine contractions. So for people who have, or given birth or know about birth at all, we know that the synthetic form of oxytocin is called Pitocin, which is a commonly used medication to induce labor and also to manage postpartum hemorrhage. So, having sex or being intimate with a partner is a great way to get oxytocin flowing. And also, if you have sex with sperm is a prostaglandin, right, which can cause cervical ripening. So those are reasons why they say to have sex, right?
Yeah, that this semen in and of itself is the thing that like, yes, the oxytocin from having sex, but also
Mhm.
specifically the semen to the cervix
Yes.
is
Yes. Yeah.
What are some of the other things that people do that may or may not be successful to try to trigger contractions?
I've heard everything. And I always tell people, whenever people are asking about it, I say, if you want to, you can try everything, or don't if you don't want to and you don't like it, or it makes you more uncomfortable or anxious. But people will try to be intimate or have sex, or even just get the oxytocin flowing. People will go on long walks and try, like kind of like, movement. Curb walking is a big one. So like when you kind of walk like one foot on the curb, one foot off, the idea is that like you kind of open your pelvis in a different way and allow the baby to drop more. Spicy food. I mean, I remember my mom telling me that she told my dad, drive around and hit every speed bump, right? The idea of just kind of like jiggle, like jiggle me around.
I
There's
watched
all the
comedy
things.
videos. I watched Wanda Sykes to try to and
Yeah.
it did go into labor that night. So
Okay, you never
maybe not.
know. Yeah, my husband swears that I had spicy food. I don't remember, but who knows? So he always will tell me, like, tell your clients, like, tell them to eat the spicy food. I'm like that. I'm not telling him anything. You relax. Yeah, I heard there's like an eggplant parm dish from some restaurant in Manhattan. Then I
Mhm.
heard there was a Starbucks drink that people were doing. There
the
was some
internet is
Starbucks,
fabulous. There's like so many great ideas out there. I'm
right?
all about like do with the ones that seem fun or feel good.
Totally. Go for that prenatal massage, right? There's, acupuncture, chiropractic. You can do acupuncture for like a labor prep. And some of it certainly, has some evidence, data, information, a lot of things that just aren't widely studied enough. So we don't have like good, solid information. But certainly, we know acupuncture helps a lot of things.
Mhm.
So it can definitely get your body ready and prepped for labor. But yeah, people will try anything under the sun, right? Forget it. If you're anywhere near, right? I don't care if you're past 40 weeks or even, people at 38, 30, some people are ready to get the baby out. Some people not, which is great, which is why there are options.
So, all right. So we talked about pooping on the table, talked about all the grossness of pregnancy and like moving into labor. Any other bodily functions, things that nobody expects or don't talk about enough that you
Mm.
think our listeners would want to know?
Yeah, I think afterwards in postpartum, a lot of people don't talk enough about like the hormone changes and how people feel like they smell or they're sweating a lot. They wake up with night sweats.
Sweats.
Right?
Yeah.
Like there is a big
Change your
hormonal shift. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you wake up drenched, right? Like let's think back to, like puberty as a kid when like you probably didn't realize, but maybe your mom or someone was like, you need to wear deodorant. So like, yes,
Mhm.
you are wearing deodorant postpartum. Maybe you forgot. Valid. We see you, we hear you. You forgot to put on deodorant.
Right,
We get
right.
it. We've all been there, right? And also like feeling like you smell or have like normal. Your body's going through a lot.
And you probably still have that heightened sense of smell too, right?
Yeah.
That it's like, so not only are you like, what is this like?
Yeah. If you're like, is it me? Is it the baby? Like, did my partner shower? I don't remember when the last time they showered was. Like, which one of us is it?
I
It's
just
probably all
remembered
of you.
Right, yeah, it is all
Probably
of you.
everyone, yeah.
Have someone come over, give everyone a break, and each one of you take a minute in the shower.
Right.
Take 10 minutes in the
10 individual shower. Yeah, go take it, do a bath bomb, do the whole thing.
Yeah. That just reminded me too. I forgot the reason I wear glasses to this day is postpartum. One thing I didn't know is that eyes become very sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And like right after one of my children were born, accidentally sleep deprived, fell asleep in my contacts and scratched both corneas. And the doctor was like, yeah, postpartum, really sensitive eyes. Didn't know that. It's like
Yes.
so strange.
Yes.
Everything.
There's a lot that happens. Yeah. I mean, I know we've spoken about this, Megan, but I also, I was a like a 23 hours out of the day contact wearer. And when I had my last child, my eyes got really dry, right? Which is like a hormone thing, right? Like dryness we talk about, especially like when people go through perimenopause, one of the first signs is like vaginal dryness, right? Anywhere that you have secretions or, so my eyes got really dry. So I stopped wearing contacts because it was really painful. And now I wear glasses because I haven't tried and I have no desire.
Same.
And you and Megan have the best collection of glasses.
We have
Things.
lots
Right.
of
Now it's our thing. Now we, now it's a fashion
Yeah,
accessory.
it
so
even
I
made
wouldn't
the
give it up.
logo for the podcast.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. So yes, all kinds of things happen, right?
Including vaginal dryness.
Sure. I mean, lots of hormonal changes happen. So people certainly in the postpartum time, painful sex and things like that can happen because of hormonal shifts. So another reason why seeing a pelvic floor PT and being in close contact with a provider is so important, right? That like if it's something that doesn't quite return to like what it was before and you're feeling really uncomfortable, like reach out and ask for help.
Yeah.
What about just your everyday, ordinary peeing and pooping postpartum?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to make my dear pelvic floor PT friends really happy right now and say that, like, if you're leaking after giving birth, like urinary incontinence or fecal incontinence, right? Like pooping, whether it's just like regular throughout the day or when you're jumping or when you're laughing or when you're coughing, it's not normal, right? Like I grew up in the generation with my mom just saying like, yeah, I had 3 kids. So now I pee a little or I just have to run to the bathroom and it's not normal. We shouldn't be doing that. And everyone, if you want and if you feel the need, should see a pelvic floor PT to address that so that you can strengthen your pelvic floor and be more comfortable with it because we shouldn't have to deal with that. It can happen. And from, what I understand, it is common, but doesn't mean that it's normal, right? That's something we talk about a lot. Common, but not normal.
And I don't want to forget the episiotomy or tearing, right? So
Yes. I always share with my doula clients whenever they say, it's always like kind of like hesitant at first. They're like, I'm just really afraid of tearing. And I tell them that I think like 90% of the people that I work with say that and identify that as like their biggest fear. And I think it's because like when we just say it in general, like we don't talk about vaginas in general, right? Or like what is going on in your vagina? What does your
yeah, it's
vagina look
private. We
like?
don't talk
What
about
is it?
that.
We don't talk about it. Don't God forbid, don't touch it, don't look at it, right?
Yeah.
And then the idea of it tearing is like, what? Like that is
So
the
for
most.
people that like don't even know what you're talking about, that it tears, like,
Yeah.
can you say what that is?
Yeah. So when we talk about tearing, most commonly we're talking about the most common types of tears are like first and second degree tears of your perineum, which is like the space in between your anus and your vagina, right? So like when people tear, oftentimes it's because to get a baby's head out, that like really soft tissue sometimes tears a little bit. And it's also very common. And you can, another great thing about pelvic floor PT or just getting more comfortable and like learning a little bit about your own anatomy and your own body to kind of get a sense of like what that space is and what's going to happen. Some people tear, some people don't tear. It's super treatable and manageable is what I like to share with people, right? We don't know if you're going to tear. I can't tell you that. What I can tell you is that Most people who I'm with when they are in labor and pushing, they do not know that they tore. Nobody says like, "Oh, that was it. That was
Yeah.
the tear," right?
Yeah.
There's like a whole baby's head coming out at that point.
There's a lot happening.
Like you're totally focused on other things. What happens is they do a repair afterwards with stitches, and they dissolve. So it's not like you have to go and have them taken out. And also, what I like to share is that I have had people who have had no tears and they've had harder recoveries than people who perhaps have had more complicated tears, right? There's a lot that happens to your body after you give birth. So the most important thing is just like taking care of yourself and rest and like allowing yourself to heal from that experience. So yeah, tearing happens. An episiotomy is when the provider makes a cut. And they are really, I really like to share with people. It sounds terrible and scary, and they're really not widely used. It's
Mhm.
been shown that they're usually not clinically indicated, and when I've seen them, they really have been, and that they should always be performed with consent. Provider should always let you know what's happening and give you the options and present the information. But yeah, it sounds really scary, and also you're having a baby, so like your body can and will recover, and all the gross stuff that happens, hopefully you get like that most awesome first shower after having a baby, and it feels fabulous.
Yeah.
And if after, that it doesn't feel fabulous, which is happens, but if it continues to not feel fabulous, then go back and check with your doctor to not assume maybe that things are normal because there
Absolutely.
sometimes people do need some more extensive work and that's okay. Like there's a lot of treatment, right?
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Like ask the questions. Ask the questions for sure. For sure. And listen to your body, right? Like if it's not feeling normal, if everyone's telling you like, oh, you shouldn't be feeling that kind of pain, or you should be able to walk normally, and you're like, but I can't, then ask. Trust what like
Yeah.
just
If
ask, right?
you are hobbling around and intentionally walking bow-legged, time to call your doctor.
Yes. Call your doctor, and if you're my client and you're not reaching your doctor, then I'm going to tell you to call 8 million more times. And if we're not getting an answer, then we're going to find somebody else to see you so that you can get an answer. But yes,
Hannah, before we go, I want to ask if someone is interested in getting a doula, where do they look?
oh,
How do
that's a
they
good
find a
question.
good one?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think ask your friends, ask your family. Have you ever used a doula? Do you know anybody who used a doula? Do you have any recommendations? I really think that like word on the street regarding that stuff is usually the best. There are some really great places. There's like a website called Doula Match that you can go on and look for and like read reviews and all of that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, I think like ask around, especially people who you trust, right? Especially people who it's, like the same way you would ask them for babysitter recommendation or, a contractor recommendation, right?
Right.
Like somebody who you're like, that's somebody I'm aligned with. I'm going to ask them.
Yes. And all doulas are different,
Yeah,
right? So it's okay to call a few, just like all therapists are different, right? So interview them,
absolutely.
ask questions.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
gonna post
Yes.
your contact information in the on the page with the podcast, but you're at Doula Hana, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Doulahana is .com is my website. And I always tell people whenever I meet with people about being a doula and doing doula work, exactly what you said, Pauline, like doulas are so different. You have to find the one for you, right? Because what I share is like, you want to make sure that it's that person that you want in the room with you, right? Because when all
Mhm.
of that messy stuff is happening, that's who you want there. And it doesn't matter how many births they've attended and how many times they've been to XYZ hospital or have been in whatever situation or have what certifications, right? Like, it's like, is that the person who I could have in the room with me holding my hand or my hair, right? Or
Or your
like
ankles.
telling me, yeah, right. Being like, yep, you pooped. It's cool. Nobody cares. Keep
Yeah.
pushing.
Yeah. Here's a sandwich after.
Yeah. Here's the sandwich. Have the water, right? Yes, absolutely.
I could talk we could talk to you for days, but we're going to have to wrap it up. But how would you, in a sentence, right? What would you tell people that nobody told them? So what's your what no mom told you?
There's no such thing as TMI. when you have a doula, that's exactly what you hired them for. So send them all the pictures, all the details, anything you want. There, I said it.
Love that. No such thing as TMI.
No such
All
thing.
information matters.
Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure. The pictures
Hana,
stay
thank you.
locked in my phone.
Got a special folder for that.
Yes.
I was going to say, I hope that you don't have the auto preview on your phone where the picture just automatically comes up. Could ruin or could make some interesting conversation.
My kids know a lot about birth.
I love that. Well, thank you, Hana. And we will
You're
be sure
welcome.
to have you back because you're just a wealth of
Yeah.
knowledge.
We have to talk about breastfeeding too. We didn't even get to that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Let's do
another
it.
leaking part.
Yeah.
Everything leaks.
Everything leaks.
So many fluids.
I mean, I think it's just preparation for having a baby because the fluids are
is.
plentiful after.
Right. It just goes from like amniotic fluid, pee, poop, breast milk to projectile vomit, right?
Yeah,
After-
mucus.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it.
Tears.
But
Oh,
yeah.
what's that saying that you have about tears and milk?
Yes, that Tanya Wills shares, right? When the tears come, the milk comes, right? That's what we
Yeah, it
know.
happens
Why
around
is that the
same
one that
time.
hit me?
I know. But it's true because that's like, when oftentimes it's like days like 3 through 5, and that's when people get home from the hospital, and then they become a blubbering mess, and that's when the milk comes in, and then that's when they call us, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, thank you for talking about all the leaking parts and all the messy stuff.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna
We'll
go
see you soon.
put my my soup up for dinner and not think about fluids.
I hope you're not having like chowder.
No, it's just chicken soup.
Thanks for spending this time with us. If you found yourself nodding along or saying, same, that's kind of the point.
We hope you leave today feeling a little less alone. This is what no mom told you. And yeah, there's more where that came from.